Hi, and welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric. That's Karen, and we're joined to get today by with our friend Rhonda, who was an original Swan's Crossing member, or a watcher, I
Young,
think, member. Maybe she was a
that's
member. Were you in it?
right. No, I
Um,
just watched it hard.
Tell me roll the credits, and we'll chat. All right, so what do you remember about the series when you originally watched it in 1992? Did you remember everything? Do you only remember the big events or
I just remember like there was like a general feeling of this is like our soap opera for kids, and like we got excited about it because there were like no adults in it at all.
or
And
yeah, right.
one of the things I remember was like when I was younger, it was like being able to sit down with my little sister and like talk about these guys like they were like real people, and it was different than watching a regular soap because the problem seemed a little bit more for us than it seemed like, because with the
Yeah.
adults there's always like assaults and there's robberies and there's infidelity, and you don't
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that yet. But this one is
Right.
like, it's like, oh, will they kiss or will they not kiss? This is what we want to watch.
Will they hug? Will they hold hands?
Oh,
Um, did
when will Neil
you
stop getting in the way? It's the
did you relate to any of these kids?
oh no.
I wasn't sure what you were going through at high school at that time or whatever,
No, they were all like super privileged, like they're like, and their freedom was incredible.
right?
Like never had to ask mom for anything. It just not
I
like
mean,
just
I feel like all their parents are always out of town.
oh exactly, except
In
for
the
Mayor Rutledge.
yeah, in the case of JT and Nancy, we haven't seen a single parental figure yet. We don't even know Nancy's
No,
last name. And one of the things I always mention that, but one of the things I always mention to Eric is that we never know how late it is at night,
no,
like ever.
no. They're
We
at
just
Swans.
assume
It's
it's
dark as
around
heck.
9.
Yeah, it's like 2 o'clock in the
Right,
morning. They're at
but
Swan.
it's
Like,
summertime. It's summertime, so it's got to be like 9, 10 o'clock, and you don't know where your kids are,
no,
and you're
Well,
cool with that.
the parents aren't in town.
No,
no, the parents don't. I think one time Neil's parents were looking for him, and that was when he was kidnapped. But otherwise,
yes,
like nobody ever knows where any of their children are, and they always seem surprised to find their children in the house. Like they're, oh, you're here.
what are you doing here? Like,
except
oh
Yeah.
for
my gosh,
except for the countess, because the countess is never far from Mila. Like
no,
she's like a helicopter mom before I think they had helicopter moms, but the rest of
Yeah,
them are
right.
just very hands-off parents.
yeah,
Weird.
All right, so we're covering Swan's Crossing episodes 46 to 50, and so episode 46 starts off with the Countess going off on Mila about Billy and how she was being a bad girl, and she's punished for life,
oh yeah, she's grounded in that ivory tower of hers.
and she calls them Billy Rifle instead of
Yes,
Billy Gun.
Billy Rifle.
Yeah. He's so
That was
scary with
fun.
his rock and roll.
Yeah, and his terrible British accent.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Whew.
Um, JT, so yeah, last we saw like there was some kind of explosion. I don't even know where the explosion was. Did you get it? I thought it was right outside of Swan's.
No, it's at the Atwater Cosmetics lab. They mention it later on.
Okay.
I didn't know either. I had no idea where this was. It just looked like tents and poles and
Yeah. Well,
styrofoam.
the way they showed it in the last week or for the previous week, it looked, like it was right outside the place.
Yeah, it was loud.
Um,
Yeah,
so
they called it like the minefield or something,
Yeah.
yeah,
What's that about?
but it wasn't a minefield. They all have special names for something. These two, like they always have little acronyms and little names.
buckyball.
Exactly.
What does
So
I
buckyball
think it,
mean?
I think it's weird that they call each other Buckyball, because wouldn't you have different nicknames? What if it's
no,
the
they
same
just
nickname?
No.
oh,
You
did
okay,
not get it
Buckyball?
at
Yeah,
all.
Buckyball.
You're all right, buckyball.
So JT looks for Neil in the rubble. Garrett tells, and it's like the rubble is clearly styrofoam.
Oh my god.
You can
Throwing
hear
styrofoam
like
pieces.
they did nothing to cover up the foam rubbing against each other's sounds. I was cracking up
No.
for a full 5 minutes because it was supposed to be so dramatic, like JT saving his best friend and Neil's all posed in the rubble, and it's
It's
silly.
something.
It's something.
It's good.
Garrett Garrett tells Glory to not go help JT because he doesn't want her with JT, so he's trying to stop her. And JT always gets her into trouble, it seems, through Neil's bullshit. Um, Jimmy, eavesdrops on Callie and Billy. Is his name Billy or Bobby?
His name is
Saja.
Oh,
Bobby, but
Bobby.
Bobby.
Sajay is his weird alter ego thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Saja the Conjurer?
Yes,
So weird.
Yes.
I believe you're correct.
This
Yes.
month, because apparently he changes names frequently.
I know he's held this personality for a long time. I'm happy for him, I guess.
Maybe it's a summer
Ian,
thing because he's got it. He's doing it. He does. It doesn't seem like it happens in school.
right. Um,
So
Nancy and Sandy talk about Sydney and Billy. Billy says he isn't leaving. Owen talks to him about tracks. They didn't really show much of that. I guess like Billy was like blowing him off or something.
Well, Owen wants to like pick his brain for like music information or something.
mhm.
And like Billy is too busy trying to sway Sydney into being in love with him because he's so cool. He's so cringe the entire episode.
It really is, right?
And
Um,
then you have to remember how young they are. It's like,
Yeah,
so how old is Billy?
yeah. I
That
think
and
right.
he's like, and he's on these kids, and I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? Like
right.
he's
I'm guessing he's like 18, just like a young teen idol, like a Justin Bieber.
yeah. You think?
I
I
don't
don't know. I
I
got
don't
like a
know.
20s vibe from this guy, and
really.
I was like, yo, this is wrong. I was like, I don't feel like they're what because they keep talking about like how everything was in middle school, like it just happened,
Right.
and so I feel like they're only like sophomores in high school.
Right.
So this is bad. Like even if he was 18, it's bad. Like it's just like
Well, I
no one's
saw
had a sweet
something.
16 party yet.
Yeah,
No,
I was
they
gonna
haven't.
say. Yeah, I figured they're like 15, right?
Wait,
I
how
know
old was Mila
Sarah
when they
Michelle
had
was
Mila's
15.
birthday party? Do you remember?
It was just a birthday party. It wasn't a sweet 16. It
Okay.
was just a
Yeah, I don't think
party.
it was. Huh.
So,
They don't want you to know ages, I guess.
Um,
oh, that's important when you have Billy Gunn on the scene.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. I said the same thing when Barrick was introduced and he seemed to be flirting with Callie and he is like a whole ass adult.
Exactly.
It was scary.
I'm more cringe with Barrick for sure, because
Yeah.
he's like 40. Um, Garrett says he wants Sydney to convince Mila. Oh, sorry, kitty
Hey,
puppy.
Monty.
Um, Billy dumped her, and he says like create a distraction. Um, whatever he's trying to do, make Sydney do this. I'm tired of this crap. I hate it.
It's hard because like Garrett is such a confusing character because it seems like he was legit in love with Sydney and it
Right.
like they still have something going on, but this torture situation he's got going on is just getting to the point where it's like offensively annoying. And
Yeah,
watching Sydney like, get more and more depressed each episode is starting to like affect me. I feel
yeah,
bad
me
for her.
too.
Yeah, she doesn't know
Well,
who she is anymore. She feels like
right.
really down. Every time she talks to her mom, she wants to cry. Like it's just
Yeah, she's like
it is
in a
upsetting.
in a deep depression. Sandy interrupts. And Sydney kind of treats her like shit because of what she's going through, of course.
Where's Sandy?
I know. I really feel bad for these all these kids except for Nancy. Um, Sydney comes up with an idea, and I'm assuming it's getting Sandy with Billy. But it doesn't go the way I thought it was gonna
No,
go.
I think her whole plan was to get Billy to leave town as fast as possible because
Right.
she is up his butt the entire time going, "When are you gonna get on the plane?" And he literally says, "I got my own wings and they wait to catch me." And I'm like, this guy's so lame. And I would have felt when I was 15, I would have been all over this guy,
Oh yeah.
right? And I hate
Right.
Yeah, right. Um,
in defense of younger me, I'm like, no.
JT finds Neil and digs them out of the styrofoam. So he introduces Sandy and Saja and others to Billy. Garrett and Sid talk. He wants Sydney to hook up with Billy. She says Mila is her friend. This is the first time I actually like felt that from her. She's like, Mila's my friend.
Yeah, she
I can't
doesn't
do
want any
that.
part of this. She wants Billy to go away. Like she doesn't
Right.
Yeah,
want a relationship with him. She's still in love with Garrett. Why? I have no idea.
I know. But Jazz acts like a fool.
Yeah, that was weird. How old is Jazz? Jazz is what? 30? What?
Yeah, she's
30 acting like a 10-year-old.
exactly.
She pulls Sydney over to Billy, where everyone's like clanking shit. What is that about?
I think there's like the rhythm section for his guitar playing. They're just I don't
Yeah,
know why they're doing that either. I would just be
it was
about that
awkward.
guitar life, right?
Or just
That's
like
what you're
clap.
supposed to do.
I don't know. I think they all wanted to get in on it, so they were all jamming or whatever. But it was a very strange. I don't know. The show always has weird musical interludes, so I guess it's fine.
It does
Yeah.
though. The theme music is amazing.
Amazing, she says.
In the absolute worst way.
Oh yes.
The American spies can't get a hold of their agent, who we think is Barrack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We see the foreign agent guy on a walkie-talkie, but I don't know what he was saying,
He said a bunch of random things.
Right.
One of them sounded
as
like he was
usual.
saying last names because at one point it sounded like he said Polanski. I don't know what's happening there.
I
Yeah,
don't
like
either.
that is borderline offensive, the language that they use.
Oh yeah, when they do the fake Russian and the fake German,
Oh,
and it's like you couldn't take 10 minutes to ask a Russian guy how to say a few phrases.
right.
I know,
Like
right?
he's not giving out the full details. He's just like exclaiming. Like you could obviously find out the Russian word for crap if
Yeah,
you wanted to.
it's not that
Yeah, right.
hard. Even in
It's
the
not.
90s, they could have
No.
looked it up in a book or something. They're just like, I don't know, like they're just saying random words that sound vaguely Russian. And like when they had the two spies, one sounded vaguely Russian and the other one sounded vaguely German. And I'm like, you could just learn a few phrases. Why?
So
Yeah,
JT
Berlitz
is
was a
like
thing.
Mhm.
JT is like Superman, and he carries Neil out of the rubble. Neil passes
I
out again. Glory worries. Sydney says the plan worked, but you didn't work to Mila.
right.
Sorry, I was
I'm
dying
like,
during that.
what? Um, Nancy answers the Swan. I guess because Jazz isn't doing her job as usual. Everybody answers the Swan phone except for
Jazz, the only
Jazz, who
person
shouldn't
that
be
was,
Yeah.
doing it.
yeah.
JT calls and says that there's an accident, and everybody's quiet, completely shut down.
Yeah, the bald
Any
man,
other
he
thoughts?
also can't hear over the walkie-talkie because of his hearing damage, which is why they have the cotton balls everywhere.
So bizarre. Episode 47. Nancy and Sydney come up to Mila's room. She is surprised that Countess let them up. Sydney says that Neil's in a coma. Our first kid coma.
I know.
Our first Katoma and also our first child literally locked in her room. Like the Countess turned off the elevator and trapped this child in a room.
Right?
That's messed up.
That is though.
She's punished for life. What are you gonna do?
Oh God.
I mean, there's
Solid.
punishment, and then there is punishment, though.
Right. That was imprisonment.
It was. She got locked up.
I did make note that he was in the cosmetic lab, but I was still confused because of the way they showed it. So I put Callie and Jimmy
Because
talk about
the
Neil
lab
being
looks
in the
like
cosmetic lab.
the lab looks like a hoop house. Like it looks like it's made out of sheets of plastic and like
Right.
Styrofoam.
like equipment from a gym.
Barrett comes along and
I
wonders
hate
what
him.
he was doing in there.
I hate that guy.
I don't understand him. Like, even if he's a spy, he's not a good one.
No, he sucks at
Yeah.
it.
And he's supposedly good at everything.
Yeah.
Like he's
Right.
played baseball, he's written papers,
I think he says he's
he
a
knows.
geologist at some point.
Yeah. And then remember the Nudibranch ball?
How could we forget? I think that was our favorite ball.
Yeah, that was great. With the water, with the Ethel Merman swimmers and everybody getting in there.
With
But like
the dancers.
yes.
Yes,
So great.
we love it.
And
We love it.
But even then, like Barrick was like, "Oh yeah, I know all about this nudibranchs," and like he knew everything, and he was talking to the captain. Like it's like whenever he needs to be something, he's something.
Yeah,
Like-
that's how we figured out we think he's a spy because he's kind of like designed to like fit in anywhere except
Right.
13 or 14-year-old girl Callie annoys him like 24/7 for
Right.
always loses his
He's up his
temper.
He does.
Garrett harasses JT. What else is new?
Yeah.
We finally meet Mr. Atwater.
We did.
Besides seeing him at like a random event like early on, like,
I
it might
think
have
that
been
was him. I think that
It's
was him.
probably
He
him.
just walked across set during one of the parties earlier and I was like, who is that guy? Because they never introduced anyone.
Right.
And the doctor tells him that something shielded him from the heat of the blast. Mila blames Sydney. Nancy and Sydney fight a bit. That was interesting. They're like fighting in front of her.
Yeah. That was great over who was hitting on Billy Gunn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They both
Um,
admitted they were flirting with the guy she was trying to get with. Like they were both
Exactly.
friending it in that moment.
Yeah, and then she got mad at them and like stormed away. She's like, I'd rather be stuck up here by myself.
Yeah, but isn't that the point where like Sydney just straight up said it's your fault?
Yes.
And
She
then,
said it.
yeah, she said, right? She said, I disguised you perfectly, and the first time someone called your name, you stood up.
Yes. That was his blame.
But then they told the story again of that we heard earlier of Nancy hiding a whole horse in her bedroom.
Yes. And it was going good too until she tried to jump the bed with the horse. And then that is why her parents discovered the horse, which is another terrible parenting angle from Swan's Crossing.
How did she get a horse in the bedroom? And also,
How do you get him up the stairs? Like, is this a ranch house? Like, does she have bay windows? Like, I got questions about that, and they just they don't bring it in, except that she tried to jump the. How big is his bedroom? Horses are
Right.
huge. Was this
Probably
a pony?
as big as Mila's. Mila's is big.
yeah, but
Mila's-
Mila's isn't big enough to have like a 15-hand horse jump over it while
Right. And
indoors.
she can't even get it up the stairs. She only has an elevator. So how is she gonna get like? I was super confused. It's like,
Yeah.
and then she got to keep the horse.
It's a confusing show.
It's very silly in spots.
For a kid's show, yeah. So Callie questions Barrick about his shadiness.
Of
I never.
course.
They always talk at the same thing. Like they always say the same shit over and over. It's like 25 of the same conversation.
She might as well just walk into the room and be like, Beric, you're a liar. And then Beric says, no, I'm not. And then cut to next scene.
Yeah, right. In every episode. Apparently he took something from the rubble.
Rocks.
Rocks, yeah.
Oh, right. Um, Foreign spy put something in a box.
Rocks.
More rocks.
More
They're
rocks.
like white 1-inch river rock from
Uh,
like landscaping. And
it's not
like they're
styrofoam.
smoking. Did you notice they're all smoking? The rocks are smoking.
Oh no, I did not notice
I
that.
didn't notice. I didn't
Well,
either.
because the bald man burns himself.
Oh, he's like comic relief and threatening at the same time.
Yes. Accurate.
And confusing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
At the hospital, Sydney blows Garrett off. She, Nancy, Glory, and JT are at Neil's bedside telling stories about Neil. I guess how Neil used to be cool because apparently he's kind of an asshole.
I don't know if he used to be cool because he did eat clay cookies.
He did. But he did it he did it to support JT's little sister, right? Like,
Who I love and I wish was in these episodes.
Oh yeah, she hasn't been in it. Mila sent balloons, Saja brings music, and then there's a party in the room, and they play that terrible song for
I
Neil
hate
in his
that
coma
song.
to torment him.
Oh, which song was this one? It was I can't remember
Not
what.
gonna get too far.
Was it the Sweet as Honey one?
Yeah.
No, it was.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was like, oh, I cannot remember which one it was.
Yeah, it was the one that goes not gonna get too far or whatever.
Is
Over and
it?
over again. I
Oh
think
yeah.
so.
Anyway, it's awful.
I think it's awful.
I mean, there's not a good one in the batch,
No.
but
Maybe we'll give the audience a clip.
That hopeless feeling sets in, and you can't seem to shake it. You've got my shoulder to lean on. I'll always understand. You can count on me to be there, baby, when you need a hand. I'll hold you up when you're feeling down. I'll hold you up, yeah, I'll be around. All you gotta do is let me know. I'll hold you up and I won't let go. I'll hold you up when you need a friend. I'll hold you up and we'll never end. All you gotta do is reach out and I'll be there. Whoa, to hold you up.
and they're all
Yeah.
singing together
Yes.
around him, and I was like, this is supposedly the ICU, right? Because he's in a coma. Like, y'all getting away with some craziness.
They're like
Again.
prepping him,
It's like one
they're prepping
visitor
him
at a
for
time.
surgery.
Exactly.
What's the surgery for?
I don't know.
We'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay.
Someone knows.
No,
So-
I don't. I'm just gonna ask that question again when it gets time.
okay.
So Garrett brings up the baby switch again, of course, because he's blackmailing Sydney, and they all sing around Neil. And I have "I'll Hold You Up."
Is that what you
that-
wrote?
Oh yeah, I'll hold you up when you're feeling down. That's that one.
Wow.
That's
That's
that
the one that
one.
they were singing. But I think
That's what they
Neil
were singing.
played on the radio the other one. I think that's what it was.
Oh,
So
okay.
both
Oh,
songs
okay.
in one shot. And Karen, it
Ooh.
was that moment when I messaged you and I was like, "You're gonna love this," and I was dying laughing about that.
So, like,
Like,
I
what is
was,
going on?
when I got there, I literally had this moment where I was like, I realized I'm watching a TV show, and at the same time, I'm still like, how could this happen? How could this happen?
It's a mess.
So
So the
good.
doctor and Mr. Atwater seem cool with this weird song shit. That's what
Yeah, the doctor's
Um,
like, oh, all the friends being here is the best medicine that Neil could get. And I'm like, really? He's supposed to be resting.
I feel
Exactly.
like it's torture.
They're eating candy and
Um,
popcorn around his basically like his corpse. Like, what is this is freaking me out.
Sydney gets home. Billy's still there. And he's like, "You want to live dangerously, whatever that is." Um, Neil has to have surgery. He's between. Oh yeah, this was fun. He's between, like, they have the camera shot like of JT and Glory at the end of the bed. They tell
Yes.
each other they love each other, and then you see they kiss, and Neil wakes up,
His eyes open.
His eyes open.
and
Because he was
it
he
was
was ready and willing to interrupt their love, like always.
right, like he always does. That was really kind of clever, I thought.
Yeah,
That was
I
kind
thought
of
so
Yeah.
too.
fun
Yeah,
how they
it
did
was
that.
cute.
Any more thoughts on that episode?
Just the line, sorry, just the line that Sydney says about Mila to Garrett. She says, "What do you want me to do? Bring her to you on a leash?" that is some top tier writing.
That is good.
I know. I almost want Sydney to just like bash him in the head with something because it's getting on my nerves, and
Well, yeah,
like
and also having
it's
Sandy
ridiculous.
come out and like basically be like, "Oh, you sound just like my mother." I'm like, this is another knife twist for Sydney.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where Sydney's got to break. She's got to lose her mind and, like you said, attack someone. Like she has to.
Yeah.
Seriously.
This is too much.
If this was an
Episode
episode of
40.
Snapped, she'd be justified.
I would
Right, that's what I'm
100%
expecting.
support her if she killed a
That's
man
what
in this scene.
same for sure. With one of those styrofoam rocks.
Oh, she could
Episode
yell, "I killed
48.
him again."
Oh,
Okay, episode 48.
oh, for like 4 hours she
Um,
screams.
the doctor breaks up Glory and JT's kiss. Glory defends JT to Garrett. JT says, "Go with your bro. I'll take care of Neil, whatever." Sydney and Billy are in a car. He talks smack about swans. JT gets a beat. Oh,
On his beeper.
it's yeah, Neil
Because it's
beats
the
him
90s.
somehow.
That's right.
He's like, "Neil," and then like runs to his bedside. I think he
Mhm.
was in the hospital already. Um, Sid and Billy look at the stars while he comes on to her, which was awkward, like
Super
Rhonda said.
awkward.
It was super awkward only because, like, if you looked at Sydney's face, like any normal human being could tell she's not into it.
Oh
And
no.
like he is pressing on that. And she's
Yeah,
like, you were literally here to hit on my friend.
he has her dial Mila's phone number on the car phone and dumps her
That was
via
awful.
telephone. I know, this is brutal. Um, she gets out of the car and like stumbles. I don't know. This is very interesting story. The doc says Neil doesn't need surgery, and again, I put this is where I put what was he going to have?
That's what I want to know. Because
She
like
Like
him,
he
Go ahead.
doesn't need surgery. Like you have to really investigate and do your thing before you just put him in surgery. Like
Because
what?
didn't she say, right? She said he has minor injuries. And Mr. Atwater
Yeah,
said, what about the burns? She said they were all minor. She said basically he's fine and he should have woken up by now. And then she's prepping him for surgery.
so what were they gonna open up?
Do you think
his
they were gonna
brain.
do like trepanning? Like they were gonna put a hole in his brain? I don't
I
understand.
I don't know.
So
That's
confused.
the only thing I could think of. But then they didn't prep him for surgery appropriately, so we don't know like what part they were operating on.
No, and
Okay.
the thing is, don't you think they would have done like an MRI and like CT
No,
scans and
Yeah,
stuff before they would have done any kind of surgery?
they did
yeah.
none of that.
That's
They let the
no.
kids in and let them eat truffles around him, and that apparently
Seriously.
works. In
Yeah, it works.
that's New England medicine. Isn't there like a New England Journal of Medicine? Like, aren't they in that area? And this is what you came up with for treatment. Let the kids sing.
They were like,
Cute.
yeah, it's a breakthrough. It's called therapy in polka dot pink.
Dot, dot, dot.
um. So yeah, JT goes off on Neil a little bit. Neil says he is sorry. He says he will give up his stuff. Garrett calls for an update on Mila. Sydney says all clear. She tries to put him off. Sydney's mom talks to her, um, tells her about
She said to
the
her, "Oh,
Countess and Mila,
it takes a whole town to raise a child." It's like
Exactly.
the only sentence I really got from that exchange that was other than guilt tripping.
which they're like raising themselves because
There
they're
are no parents.
always
There are no
parentless.
parents. That's why it takes a village.
A village of children
Yeah.
A village of children.
and
And
barrack.
she also brings up scandals and how they're devastating to everyone. So this is making it, worse for
Mhm.
Sydney, of course.
Right.
Um,
Poor
Sydney
Sydney.
tries to tell her mom. This drives me nuts. This just happened on As the World Turns recently that I'm watching. Sydney tries to tell her mom like what's going on, but her mom just talks over her. I
Mhm.
hate that. It gets on my nerves. Like I
Yeah.
get it, it
She's,
has to prolong the story, but at the same time, it's irritating as shit. JT calls Neil, says he will bring stuff over with Glory. Sydney goes to Mila's. She says she's better off without Billy. Mila feels used and dumb. Sydney gives her a rose from a secret admirer.
Right.
We all know
oh, we
Aaron.
know.
Hmm.
I like that she's like, "Can I get a hint?" She's like, "It's a guy."
How modern of her.
Sydney tells Garrett Mila bought it. Gives note Mila wrote, and then I have Guns N' Roses between us. Some kind of remark that
Oh,
Garrett said.
because of Billy
Billy Gunn.
Gunn and
Yeah,
Roses. So there's Guns and Roses between them. And I was like,
which
haha,
I see
I
what
know.
she
I was
did
like
there.
that. So I was like,
it's
yeah, I like
corny,
what you
but
did
it's
there, Kate.
cool.
I see what you did there.
Hmm.
Any more thoughts on that episode?
Is this the one where they switch the doctor over? Like they get rid of the one doctor and swap her over? Is that
That's
the
up.
next one?
That's upcoming. That's the next
Okay.
one, I think.
Okay.
The only thing is like at this point, Garrett is just being cruel.
He is.
Like before, I thought he had like I know he wanted to punish her a little bit, obviously, because his feelings were hurt. But at this point, he's just super enjoying torturing her because when she went home and she was laying on the
Not nice.
couch and she just looked dejected, he was like, "Get up and come here and we're going to talk about this." And she's like, "No, man, I'm tired. Like my friend's in a hospital. Like this,
Right.
everything it's too much." And he did not care one bit. He forced her to go back to the wall and like talk in that cool camera angle through the hole in the wall. They could just walk around. And like, I just thought at that point, he's not being clever. He's not being funny anymore. He's just being mean.
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that was what I took away from that.
I hope we get closer with the storyline. We only have 15 episodes left, I
I
think.
know.
It's
I
getting
don't
there.
know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the fanfic.
I know. Yeah. That's our next week's guest. We'll have has fanfic. I'm not going to ask them about it next week, but in our finale, when all of us are here, I'm going to do it. So we'll all be together and all that. So episode 49. Mila harasses Sydney about the secret admirer. He
hmm
said candy this time. There's a three-way call, which we love. These three. Wait, go ahead.
So he sends Sydney's favorite candy to Mila,
Yes,
Ah,
he does.
the mocha truffles,
He's
which
and that
I forgot to mention that Rose too. Wasn't a Rose their thing too?
yes, he's
yeah,
cruel. He's cruel.
he's like he promised
Like,
like that was their thing,
mm,
and he's using
that's
all of
tough.
that to get to Mila. I feel like that is particularly cruel, and then making her do all the running for it.
Right. I don't know what his end goal is. I really don't.
I don't think he has one.
Um,
I think he's just being as mean as possible
I agree.
until she can't take it anymore.
and kills him, or has Ralph kill him.
Yes.
That's right.
Use
Hit
your
him with the
metal, Ralph.
car.
We have one of those
Exactly.
three-way calls that we like the best with
Yeah.
Oh
Mila
yeah.
and Nancy on the other line. That was fun. She kind of blew Nancy. I think Mila asked her to go to dinner or something, but she was supposed to go to dinner with Nancy, and she totally forgot because of all the bullshit that Garrett's
She
putting
was
her
also
through.
supposed to go horseback riding with Nancy. She
Nancy.
forgot. And then Nancy's like, "You have dinner with my folks." She forgot. She'd already said yes to Mila. So she's in a position where her life is falling apart and she can't keep track of anything. And she's trying to be a friend to people and she's snapping. She's snapping at Sandy. She's snapping at Nancy. She's snapping at Mila. She's losing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Poor thing.
Neil talks about the heat shield that protected him. Um, Callie and Saja, uh, she's gonna return the cotton balls to Barrack. Um, and then he found like Ninja Turtle band-aids.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the new affectation for our guy.
Yeah.
He went from
Then
losing his hearing to getting hit in the head with something.
I put Russian spy talks to dude with Ninja Turtle band-aids on his head.
Hmm.
Um, Barrack and Jimmy talk while Callie comes in. I guess they don't say anything
No, they're
major,
not
probably
interesting.
saying crap. No. Sandy goes to Owens. He left a note at Mila's.
Because she walks in and there's none of his musical equipment is there. And she's like, "What the heck?"
Oh,
And he had
Right.
taken everything to Mila's to practice and just left a note for her. He couldn't page her.
yeah, right.
I don't understand how he was able to go to Mila's because Mila is still grounded.
Apparently everyone can come in, but Mila cannot go out.
Yeah,
I guess
that is not how grounding works.
No, it isn't.
because
That's another privileged thing that did not happen. And I was grounded, I was in trouble. It was in your room, out for dinner, back in your room.
Right.
I,
Right.
I talked about my grounding the other day. I mentioned it. I was grounded for not doing my homework in grade school, and I could not go out on Halloween, but I got to give out, which is kind of like torture.
Oh.
Giving out the candy. I think I was like 12.
Oh, that stinks.
Not cool,
Oh.
That's like one of your last years too, going out in
right?
costume.
Right.
That's mean.
Not cool, Dad.
Parents.
So
I'm gonna
anyway,
talk to Joe about
Owen,
that.
Owen, he wouldn't remember, but it traumatized me. I was dressed as a vampire. Anyway, Owen steals Mila's candies, and he's looking for the coconut one, which I would do because I love coconut candy. Um, Sandy comes in. I guess she doesn't say anything. Nancy
No,
tells
she comes
Sid,
in there and she wants to find out that they're practicing polka dot pink, which she gets upset
oh,
about because she doesn't want Mila in the band and
Right.
she hates that song.
oh yeah, I
Everyone
know
hates that song.
It's awful.
Yeah, we all do.
Objectively.
Objectively
Nancy
awful.
tells Nancy tells Sydney that even her nails aren't good anymore because she's very blunt. Neil and JT scam to try to keep Neil in the hospital for as long as possible
And
because I
there's a
guess he was
nudibunk
raped.
on top of that computer,
I
Oh,
didn't
is
see
there?
that.
the little purple
No.
nudibunk from the party, and I was cracking
Oh.
up. And they switched the doctor.
That's
The
funny.
doctor is now one of the spies for the people in green lighting.
Yeah, I
Dr.
didn't.
Lamb.
Well,
Yeah.
that's actually my next. That's my next note. New doc taking over for Neil.
Dr. Lamb.
Sydney and Nancy cut each other up again.
Hmm.
Sandy comes over about Mila, convince Owen not to do the terrible song at the concert, and for her to tell Mila that her song is terrible.
That was funny
I
because
guess
Sydney's
because
like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for you. Actually, I have to be a better friend to Mila right now than you. And Sandy's like, we've been friends since we were babies.
Yeah, that was rough.
I was like, oh, Sandy.
Yeah. I
Poor
put
Sandy.
I put Sydney is mean to Sandy and she runs off. Glory comes, Sydney seems sad. Glory reads poems.
I believe this one was stars shine, you shine brighter. It was like gold is glitter, but you glitter more. Or something. It's
Yeah.
better. It's better than the earlier poetry, but it's not good.
No.
But they're
Well,
kids.
yeah, they're good. Callie questions Barrick again about his cotton balls. He makes up some shitty reason for having them.
And the
Doc
reason is
says,
so bad that Jimmy's like, hey,
well,
wait a minute. That's not right.
Right. And Jimmy's always agreeing with Barrick no matter what Barrick
Yes.
says.
yeah, right.
Yeah, he's like, hey, wait a minute. You didn't use those cotton balls for that.
And he's like,
I
yes,
saw
I did. You
you.
weren't paying attention.
He's like,
Like,
shut up,
Barrick,
kid.
God, take anger management classes. You're the worst spy ever.
Right. The doctor says that Neil can stay because he makes up like some excuse. He has like a headache and
The doctor
some
also has a
whatever.
fourth wall break. He looks directly at the camera.
Oh,
Oh,
does
I didn't
he?
notice that.
Yeah, yeah.
I did not notice.
When he tells him he can stay because he's spying on him, he turns towards front to the camera and he looks directly at us and then walks out of frame.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was neat.
And then I have Garrett calls Sydney, bugs her about Mila, and she hangs up on him.
There's also some bad tracking in this episode.
Oh wait, sorry. Mila calls Sydney, saying that she's hungry. Eating her?
She said she was coming for dinner, so I guess she can't have dinner until Sydney gets there. And Sydney's just like, eat your damn candy. And she's like,
I
oh, and
know.
I ate it.
Sergeant and Kelly talk about Barrick's bullshit excuse of his use of cotton balls. The agents are on the phone saying they are kids. He won't let them out of his sight, and that's the end of that episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else on that?
No, it was cool that they set up the hospital room as basically their little mobile lab. That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah.
What was it? And what did Nancy do?
Nancy's phone was a horse.
It
I
was.
didn't notice that.
It
I
was.
did not notice.
She was literally talking into like the belly of the horse.
I'm telling you, this show is very.
I need to know more about Nancy.
We know nothing about Nancy.
We know nothing about
I
Nancy.
know,
She just showed
but
up,
you don't.
no intro, jumped in there, started stirring the pot, and then would
little
just
bitch.
leave.
She's
Exactly.
mean.
Oh, she
She's
is.
mean.
She's mean
Put
spirited.
me-
She wants to be a trad wife with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Right.
She has no other personality traits other than mean and horses.
Yes.
Right? So episode 50, Callie and Glory talk. She reads Callie JT's new poem.
Okay.
Mila wants to read the poem her secret admirer sent her. Sydney tries to stop her.
And
Mila
it's
and
the same
Glory
poem.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they read the same poem at the same time. But we don't really know how it happened yet, right? Until the
No,
episode.
because that's a different poem than the poem that Glory copied out and handed to Sydney. So now we have to assume there was a time jump and that Sydney's been giving poems from JT to Mila for at least a minute.
Mm.
Or they screwed up from the last episode.
It's probably
JT
the
and
latter.
Neil. I don't know what JT and Neil are doing. I don't know what their end goal is. They know these spies are around, and they just keep doing these things. I don't understand what they're doing. But
They're just,
continuing
I
their
think they're
UB2B.
obsessive about the science and they can't let it go with this UB2B and the heat shield because it's supposed to be some big breakthrough for humanity. But I don't really know what it does.
It's supposed to be like some, from what I can figure out, it's like some self-perpetuating fuel
It's an
that
arc
burns.
reactor?
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's supposed to be like something that's supposed to solve like the energy crisis, but it burns really hot, which is why they need shielding.
Yeah, and
Uh,
didn't Neil was talking about putting together the heat shield, and he was gluing it together, random
Yeah,
pieces together, and that's why JT got mad at him.
yeah. Because he didn't. He's like, but and like Neil got mad at him back. He was like, I don't do the applications you do. Like I come up with the science, and then
Yeah,
you
but
handle the application.
right, except he never even waited 5 minutes to try and apologize to JT for all his tomfoolery in the earlier episodes with getting Glory into trouble. He was just
Right.
like, "My bad. I guess we're not friends anymore." And then he went off to do a dangerous experiment by himself.
I mean, he did get pushed down, and so he thought maybe it was over. Because I'm sure the physicality didn't happen before. But when Garrett punched the crap out of JT, we should have known that things were busting up
Yeah,
for
and then
real.
he did get sucker punched, so
He did though. I feel like
that was
JT could
unfair.
take Garrett.
He shouldn't have been hitting people.
No.
right. So the doc comes in. They pretend to play a game, like to whatever. There's
Hide
like
the
hide and
science.
shit. The Ninja Turtle agent lurks at the hospital. Lori
Did
talks
anyone see
about okay.
when did anyone see when the Ninja Turtle agent got injured in the head?
Ah,
Because I missed it.
I don't recall. I don't
I don't
recall.
either.
I thought maybe I missed it, but maybe they just didn't show it.
I don't know. They do so many stupid things. Like he might have fallen at one point, and maybe he hit his head,
Right.
and I just didn't like think he did anything. I don't know.
Okay.
Um. Oh, Glory talks to Callie, basically saying that they told each other they love that, like love whatever JT and her love each other. Jimmy comes and takes Callie away. This was weird. I was confused at what Jimmy was doing. Um, Mila tries to get info about her admirer from Sydney again.
Again.
She seems so
Jimmy
needy,
and
doesn't she?
I
Oh
know.
yeah.
Jimmy and
She
Callie go to the shop. He goes to kiss her, and Saja busts in. So I'm like, did he just
oh
get her to the shop to kiss her? I don't know. I was confused.
I don't know. That couple is confusing as a whole.
I hate them because they seem to hate love each other, which is a very confusing situation for me.
They
And
don't make sense.
I know, and I do think he dragged her away specifically to kiss her because he is furious when Saja shows up.
Yeah.
But like Callie didn't even know he was taking her away to kiss her because their relationship is whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It seems
That's
like a little shy on consent in that situation.
Barrack ends up coming in too.
Yeah,
I forget.
Barrack.
Yeah.
Barrack yells at everyone. He's like, just get the hell out. Why doesn't
Garrett
he
and
fire them?
Sydney.
I don't know.
Garrett and
I'm guessing because it's child labor. It's like there's no one else doing the work. Like Ralph's stuff is always breaking. His jet skis, all his stuff is always breaking. Someone's got to
right?
fix it.
What the hell's wrong with Ralph?
And it seems like
Very
all
active.
the patrons are kids as well, so it doesn't make any sense to have real workers. Plus, he's
It's
too
a
busy
Kathy
looking at
Lee Gifford
rocks.
situation.
It
was
is
the
though.
90s.
This
It was.
town, like the child labor laws are like you can begin work at 10.
It's like, or if you like stuff, you can work wherever you like the stuff at. Because that's basically how they got their jobs. Like Callie walked in and she's like, I like to fix things, and the guy was like, okay, you can work here.
And I won't pay you. There aren't any regular hours. I never know when this place is open or closed.
Right.
So many foreign cars and nobody goes to that shop.
Mhm.
So did Sydney like come up with a name for Garrett? She calls him Chandler. Did she do that with Mila
She calls
already?
him
And I missed
Chandler,
it.
and I looked into it. This is like 4 years before Friends, so I don't know why she chose the name Chandler. It was on the back of the letter,
Oh,
Yes.
there's Adam Chandler from All My Children.
so maybe it was after Adam Chandler.
Oh
But Garrett and
my.
Sydney, I put Garrett and Sydney talk through their whole about how Mila feels about Chandler, who is Garrett. He continues to torture her. Doc and Neil talk. Agent is under the bed. Barrack flips out. Callie and the gang roll out. Then Callie goes back in and sees Barrack doing some crazy shit with his little weird vision thing.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Is it like
goggles.
a, yeah, like goggles? That's not the heat thing, right?
I don't know. I think he
Yeah, I
was
don't
trying to
know.
Well,
maybe
it
look at the
was
rocks that were heating up.
yeah, the rocks from it's the rocks from the explosion site. He's trying to see if what he can see from that.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
Okay.
and taking pictures
Because
because
I
he's
do
doing
think at some
he's
point
doing
he
that
does.
click click thing.
Yeah, I do think
Click
he's
click.
talking about how he has like 27 different jobs again.
Yeah.
Whenever
So
you catch
bizarre.
him, he's like, I also do this job. And it's like, Barrack, no, you don't.
It's like, man, you get one paycheck.
All right.
Just calm down.
And it's not from the shop because you never have any customers except Ralph and his jet ski.
Exactly.
I guess the agent is talking about another agent because he says that tomorrow he's going to interrogate the patient who is Neil.
Mhm.
JT wrote another poem for Glory. Sydney copies the poem from the bushes.
Plus, yeah, she sat there with a pencil crying.
Oh, that was so sad. I remember that. She's like,
Is it because she's like sad that she doesn't have that with somebody,
I think
or
she's sad that she doesn't have it. She's sad that JT and Glory have such a cute, sweet love when she can't have it. And she's
right?
literally helping the man she loves get with another girl.
mm,
It's a lot
Very
for a
bizarre.
little girl
it's a
to deal
lot.
with.
It is a lot for a little girl to deal with.
Well, that's all I got for these 5 episodes. So what
So,
else
so
can you
can we
think
talk
of?
about the poem? And
Go
she's
ahead.
like, I walk around in desperation. And then she keeps
Oh,
trying to come up with new words, and they're all like humiliation, degradation,
degradation.
Poor Sydney's killing me.
She's got nothing. She's got nothing in her poetic in her heart right now. It's all darkness.
I think
I
this
know.
storyline needs to end. I think we've had Sydney suffering for way too long because she's like our main girl.
Right. And
And
that's
I don't like her sad.
I don't like her either. I like her sassy.
Me neither. I don't
Yeah.
like. I know. I miss like her being able to go back at him, and this blackmail shit is just on my nerves.
He has too
It
much
is a
power over her right now. So she has literally no control over her life. It's damaging her relationships
Yeah.
with everyone in town
mm-hmm.
so that he can what? Date Mila? Mila's not a puppet, she's a person. So this is all of this
No.
is insane.
All of it, yeah.
And this whole Cyrano
So
de Bergerac style wooing of
Rhonda,
Mila.
who are your favorites so
Yes.
far to
Tell
this
us your
point?
favorite.
Okay, so my favorites, I'm gonna go like everybody has their own like things going on, but my favorite right now is like Sydney is my favorite, and that's why I'm feeling for her right now because she
Yeah.
does like it doesn't matter what she did, like her big sin was not following him
Right?
on the day of the game.
Right.
That like and that like if that broke this little sociopath, and now he's just about hurting her. So like it's basically
Yeah.
for me it's like Sydney, and then I guess the little romance between Gloria and JT is my next favorite because they're as close to normal as we get, even though one's been kidnapped and the other one has super strength dragging kids out of labs. But they're so like they're cute, and like their relationships like seemed like regular junior high relationship. I kind of like him, but do I love him? I don't know. And then like they got their little theme song playing, and then they get real close in each other's faces and almost kiss like a dozen times.
Right.
It's the cutest thing. Like those,
And
so those are like
and
it
it
took
took
like
up
a
to like
million
episode
episodes.
47.
Exactly. We're like 2/3 through the show, and I was like, finally, they kiss. But
But
it took a coma to bring them
how they
totally together.
how
Because
they did
Neil
it
is
with
always
Neil in
in
bed was
between
great.
them.
That's why it was perfect. And he woke up at that exact time.
Yeah.
And, like,
Exactly. He's like, oh
and they got
crap.
to kiss.
The thing that stinks is like Neil would be my favorite if they didn't introduce that element where he literally hates women. Because he's
Yeah,
a
he's
funny,
anti-girl. He's like He-Man Women Haters Club.
but he and JT are funny little science nerds, and of course they would be my favorite. And then he's like, women. Why?
I don't think it's just women. I think it's anyone that gets in his way with the science shit.
I think
Yeah,
that's
it's like
JT
anything
and
that bothers him.
yeah, but I think
anything
he
that
puts
bothers them.
so
It just
much
happens to be women.
women. But like he's said so many straight up sexist things for and I know he's a young boy and he'll grow out of it, but like I was so excited for him to be my favorite.
Oh, I was rooting for him.
Me too.
And then he was like being a jerk, and I'm like, oh, come on. I was like, and not for nothing, you're the only black guy that's not just walking through in the background.
Right.
Like I was rooting for you because you are the guy. Like this is it.
Yeah, but you know
This
what?
is
His
it.
actions don't match his words, right? Because he says all this stuff and then he's super sweet to Katie. And then he gives Glory the book of poems twofold. One, to hide his science, because of course, but two, to make her feel better when her and JT were fighting, whether or not that was a byproduct or not. And he does seem genuinely remorseful that Glory got pulled into the middle of that nightmare. So I think maybe he can evolve. But I like science nerds. Like I want to like the science nerds. I love JT. Like I love him. And he's evolved too because he was a little dumb as a boyfriend in the beginning. And now he's writing her love poems and he's really sweet. And even Bobby has grown on me, even though the Saja thing drives me crazy. But like Bobby's sister is mean.
Oh yeah.
And he is neglected by his family. They didn't even care that he stayed overnight at JT's house to play poker all night, I guess all night. And like never called anyone or let anyone know where he was. And also he's a good friend to Callie, even though Callie sucks.
I thought they were gonna do I don't think Callie sucks. I like her individually and I think she's actually pretty smart. And I think I like that she on her own, but I don't think she sucks just because like she's involved with Jimmy.
I can't stand her interactions with Jimmy or Beric. I like her when she talks to Bobby, and that's about. And when she talks to Glory, she's nice.
Yeah.
I think she's a good actress.
Yeah, she's good.
She seems to have her stuff together, except when Jimmy shows up. She like
I don't get
falls. That. She falls apart a little bit, and then Beric is just. I don't know. Like she would have been suspicious, but it's the whole fact that like Jimmy is on Beric's side, and that makes her even like more rabid about going after him. Because like I just don't want to see you hurt. That's all. And I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, but even Jimmy is ridiculous though, because he's like anything Beric says, he 100% believes him, and he just watched him lie to his face.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they would do more with Bobby's sister because like she actually kind of is a scene stealer when she's around, but like she's hardly on. She's on like maybe 5 times I think at this point.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, obviously Sydney's our star, and I support women's wrongs, so I'm behind her. But like I can't take her being sad. I want her to crush Garrett. Who like I'm always confused about whether I like or not because he is an excellent brother, but he's bad.
He's a good brother, but that's all he's got.
Yeah.
And then we kind of see like when he got grounded that like he's like that middle child that's not as good as the big brother, and so like he's kind of living up to that standard. So you can kind of see why he like overcompensates in different places. If you think about it, but like he's still just a jerk. And this whole Sydney thing is just, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Like, you,
It
like,
is. He needs to
and
get
what
a
he's
slap or
driving her
something out
to.
of her.
Oh, he does. He needs a smacking. He does.
He does. But do you think like all these kids, like the richer kids, act this way because their parents are just not interested in them as people? Because even Mayor Rutledge, who seems like she's a decent mother, uses Sydney as a prop all the
Right.
time.
All
And
the time.
yeah, she's like, oh, you can't behave this way. You can't hang out with these people because it will affect my campaign. And you need to
Right.
be part of this program to run the theater thing because it'll help my campaign. And it's like, Sydney's a person.
Right.
Which is funny because I feel like when the parents are together, they kind of act up. They act
Yeah.
like they were, because remember we were saying they were like the other generations,
Mhm.
like
Right.
the teens, and they act
Right.
kind of like it. Like the
They do.
mayor doesn't like Grant, and like Grant doesn't like her, and
And yet
like
they
it's
were all
just
in the
like
same friend group when they were kids with
right,
the captain and a bunch of other people. And like,
Right.
right,
and it's just like their high school rivalries are still happening when they're in their 40s. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, let that
yeah.
go. That's gotta go. And the romances are still happening because the Countess is stalking Captain Walker.
She is.
I love
I love
that.
the
That was great.
Countess so much.
She stalked him
Uh-huh.
so much he left town.
He's like, I gotta go.
I
It's
know
like after
Countess
that,
needs to be on more.
I like the captain.
yeah.
Yeah, I like the captain too. He's
Will
fun.
we ever meet Nancy's parents? Will Nancy ever get a backstory?
Will she ever get a
No,
last
15
name?
episodes.
At JT, it took until what 3 episodes ago for us to find out his last name was Adams. We don't even know what JT stands for.
Yeah, that's
We do
true. Yeah.
not. We do not know what JT stands for.
John Thomas, Jay Thomas. It could be a lot of things.
It could be anything.
I love you're like it's got to be Thomas. There's no
It's gotta
other
be
T.
Thomas. There
There's
is
no other T there.
There's no T's.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, his name is Jonathan Taylor Adams.
Jonathan Taylor Adams.
It's just weird.
All right.
Like even with Neil, like no parents for how long? Except Mr.
Right.
Atwater
Yeah.
walked through a scene months ago, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's out there.
now he talks.
I mean, the mom. I mean, it seems like the mom cared, but she didn't care enough to do anything. Like
On
she just,
screen.
on screen. Like she just yelled a lot over the phone,
Yeah.
and at poor JT. Like
I'm not gonna lie, this is very on brand for 90s parents.
Kind of.
Even more
90210
so
was
for
kinda
80s
similar.
parents. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the parents
Yeah.
kind of drift in and out because they got their own things going on.
Yeah.
Right. Mrs.
All
Booth
right,
is
good.
nice, so that was good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us this week, Rhonda.
Thank
We'll have
you.
you back for the finale of this series.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and then we'll find out what's going on with them presently with Derek's stuff that he's going to fill us on. I'm excited.
Oh,
to
I
see.
can't wait. I want to
Yeah.
know what everybody's up to.
I know what they came up with.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us this week at Queers and Soaps. Subscribe, like, comment on everything. We're doing lots of stuff. Listen to us, watch us, do whatever you want. Have a good day, everyone.
Hi.
Bye.